Guys, welcome to my channel. I'm here on Sunset Boulevard in front of the building of the Director Guild of America for the screening movie Are You There God? It's Me, Margaret. And after that, the actors Ryder and especially Kathy Bates will be there for the Q&A. So let's check this video. Enjoy it.
With the film verdict, and I'm delighted to welcome this afternoon's special guest. Please welcome Ryder, director of Are You There God? It's Me, Margaret. Kelly, oh my God, you've got three names and I just lost one. Please come out. So sorry. I should never be live. I'm so sorry. The star of the film, Ryder Fortson, and the legendary Kathy Bates.
Yeah!
I apologize. So, Kelly, let's take us to the beginning of this project. This is a book that's been beloved for generations and never adapted. And you cracked it. And was it a matter of getting the script right, getting Judy Blume to sign off on it? What took so long for this movie to happen?
You know, honestly, I think Judy just really didn't want to do it. She was worried that it would be made into something very cutesy and like bubblegummy. And I think, and so much of what she's known for is her honesty. You know, I mean, she just presents all of it, warts and all. I think that's what's brilliant about her and why she's so beloved.
Sure.
So yeah, I wrote her a letter and told her how much I wanted to adapt this, and like never in a million years thought she would actually write back. But the next day I had an email in my inbox from Judy Blume.
Oh.
So
Has been updated in little ways over the years, but for the most part has stayed put into the year that it originally came out. So the film was ever a thought of I'll make this now, or was it always 70?
No, I always knew I wanted it to be set in 1970 when the book was released. First, because I love the book and I wanted to make the most faithful adaptation as possible. But also, I liked the idea that girls today going through this could watch it and realize that their moms, their grandmas, like every woman for every generation has gone through a version of the same thing. Like, I think there's something about that that's reassuring. And it also, it was lucky because it turned out like Judy Blume was like absolutely dead set on 1970. If I had said 1971, she would have been like, nope, no deal.
So, Abby, as somebody who was born in the 21st century, what aspect of 1970 felt the most historical to you, let's say, in terms of just the character's life, objects, that were in the film? What sort of stood out to you as like, oh, this is not now?
The ginormous pads. I cannot believe that people were walking around with these things everywhere. Like, they're ginormous. I honestly cannot believe it.
Hence poodle skirts. So you and Kathy and Benny Safdie and Rachel McAdams feel very lived in as a family. Like from that first scene with the four of you together, you immediately pick up on everybody's relationship to everybody else and what that dynamic is. And I'm wondering, was there a rehearsal process? What kind of prep went into sort of creating that relationship when the camera started rolling?
Well, Kathy and I actually started writing letters to each other as our characters.
Oh, that's great.
In true 1970s fashions, yes, letters. We put them through the postal service. We did, yeah. So we wrote letters to each other as our characters to really solidify that bond between us and to build like a bank of improv stories that we could use while on set and to really, because Margaret and her grandma's relationship is so beautiful and so wonderful in the film that we just really wanted to make that as real as possible. And then for everyone else, I think we had about 1 day of rehearsals before we started shooting. We all got together in the Simons New York apartment and kind of just sat and chatted for like 2 hours, and then next day we're shooting. So I think that's honestly one of my favorite things to do as an actor. You just see a random person and you're like, hello, you're my mother now, I love you. We're a family.
So, Kathy, Sylvia exists so much as a presence on the phone in the book, and you really are getting a lot of inner life there and involvement really in the story that isn't necessarily on the page. And I'm wondering about both, I guess for Kelly, how that character got built, and then also for you the taking what Judy Blume wrote and then marrying it with what Kelly handed you and building that character.
Talk about Grandma, or
Yeah, I'll just say the thing that excited me about an adaptation was really deepening the mom and grandma character, so it would feel like 3 women going through big life transitions in tandem, like all of them coming of age in their own way. So that's why it was important to really dig into Sylvia's story and Barbara's story and understand what they're going through.
yeah, I felt too that one of the things we discussed was that along with that is that Grandma realizes she needs someone else in her life, you know, that Margaret has her own life and she's growing up, and I mean, she doesn't foresee there never being a relationship between the two of them, but she realizes that she's just sitting there in her apartment, she's alone, and she's got to make the choice. What is she going to do? Sit there for the rest of her life and go to musicals by herself and all that kind of stuff. And I think she realizes she needs to make a change, you know. So, yeah, it was, I just loved working with you. You're just, you know, I think I told you when we were doing it, you were so young, but you're one of the favorite people that I've ever worked with in 50 years.
Wow.
You're welcome. And congratulations on your nomination.
I just want to say the scene of you guys in the bed doing the sleepover was just the most joy-filled, wonderful. I mean, watching that it's just like I wanted to be in that bed with you. You know what I mean? Like, you want that grandma. You want that relationship.
Yeah, I kind of,
so
we kept
beautiful.
doing it and doing it. 'Cause
Yes.
we loved it. So we had to go, okay, we gotta.
There is such great intimacy in this movie, but there's also so much scale, especially for what I'm imagining is not like a Napoleon budgeted movie. I think about like the Pirates of Penzance and just thinking all of these people had to be outfitted with 1970s hair and wardrobe. Could you talk a little just about the just marshaling everything involved with the you know, getting all the period stuff, all those details right, and taking this out into the world and not just in people's backyards and apartments?
Yeah, well, I mean, so much credit goes to Steve Sacklet, our production designer, and Ann Roth, our costume designer, who's just such a legend. I mean, because really, they were the ones who figured out all of those little tiny details and made them feel lived in. In fact, I feel like that was one of my favorite moments, was seeing you become Sylvia in the costume room. Like, there was a moment where it was like your whole physicality changed when you put that costume on.
It's amazing. I've been lucky to work with her on 4 pictures. She works with Meryl Streep for years and years and years, and you can go, and I'm sure you know who she is, but one of the wonderful things about her is you go in her, studio there, and there's a 3-way mirror, and you walk in, and there's a bra on the floor, and lots of costumes on there, and you put a pair of pants on, I don't know, she's just leave it on, we're playing, and one of the good things I had on this fitting was they did the wigs, so that really helped a lot, but after 2 days, suddenly you're not looking at yourself anymore. It's amazing. You become the character, and she's, it's just, I can't tell you, she creates such a foundation, and speaking of Anne, when you do the scene where you follow Laura into the Catholic Church, and you're standing outside the confessional before you go, and you've got your bag, and you've got your coat wrapped over the top of the bag, that's gotta be Anne. I don't know if it was, but I thought,
Probably.
that's Anne. She'd always go around and tell the people that were there, the atmosphere, why you're wearing something, because she won one for Ma Rainey's, I think, Black Bottom. And so she'll go around and she'll tell everybody why they're wearing what they're wearing and how they have to wear it and all that kind of stuff. She's just, there's nobody like her.
For both of you, there's the old, I think Betty Davis has supposedly said, when I find the shoes, I find the character. Does that process of, this is my wig, this is my, this is the pantsuit, or this is the t-shirt, or whatever, kind of take you to a new place as far as like, oh, I get this person now?
Well, go for it.
Yeah, I would say that when I was in Anne Roth's little studio there, she has so much attention to detail. Like, I remember that there was a conversation about socks and how I would have one rolled all the way up and one right down by my ankle, and one of them would be filthy and one of them would be like starch white. And it's amazing how many things I was able to realize about Margaret and about my character, and how she thinks about clothes and fashion, how she treats the things that she wears, and how she cares about all that. It really did help me when I was preparing to really be able to step into the shoes of Margaret.
Well, I always say that when you walk in someone else's shoes, it's empathy, isn't it? And I remember meeting Gloria Steinman years ago, or Steinem? I'm losing my names. And I had to do a speech for something, and I was talking about that, about walking in somebody else's shoes, and I said, how was it? She said, yeah, it was subversive. And I said, what do you mean it's subversive? And she said, well, when you empathize with someone else, it makes it that much harder to kill them. And that is all I will say on that subject.
I mean, kissing someone on screen was kind of awkward, That was awkward. Getting my period on screen, kind of also awkward, Lots of awkward things in this movie, and that's what makes it a great movie, because it's a bunch of awkward feelings.
And you're owning it. That's the thing. That's what's so great about it.
First of all, it's like nuts to me that this could ever be banned. I can't wrap my mind around it at all. And yet after we filmed it, they were trying in Florida to make it so that girls couldn't talk about their period in school, like before the 6th grade or something. I think that it finally was. It never went through, but there was like discussion about that, which is just nuts. So I just find it all, I still can't believe it.
Tell me a little about, they're not with us today, but Betty Safdie and Rachel McAdams, who are terrific in this, and like I said, the 4 of them really form such a great unit. What kind of, they had the letters going on, what sort of shooting preparation did you go through with them to talk about the characters, the period, their role in all this?
Gosh, well, I really have to say, like, I I so just hand it to all of you guys, because it really was just, you're thrown in and then suddenly you're family. And you have to do it so quickly, you know, you just have to form that bond instantly. And I have no part of that, really. I mean, honestly, it's all on you guys. It's really...
Well, can I just jump in here, because there was that moment where we had the pandemic, and then we had a couple of months when we thought it was over. Yeah. And that's, I think that's when we went to do the movie, and then it started up again. But hadn't been acting for what, 2 years or whatever, and so I got on the set with Kelly, and I was literally like this, and she was talking to me, and I was like, wow, where am I? I've never done this before. This is the actor's nightmare, and it was horrible. I thought, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And she was talking to me, and I was like, who is this person talking to me? What is she telling? I swear to God, it was just terrifying, absolutely terrifying.
Well, you covered it very well, because I would have never known.
It always starts with the script for me.
It's a process question for Kathy, sorry.
Having I don't know that, it's a gut reaction when you read something and it starts speaking to you, and in this case, I hadn't done that before, writing letters, and, you know, I asked her mom, and everybody for that was okay, and Kelly, you know, for us to do that. So that was, because she was already at camp, you know, and I was home here, and I knew that I would just meet you on set, you know, so that was a different preparation for this film. And, you know, for Dolores Claiborne, it was different because I had to age, so and to do a dialect. And so I worked with a movement coach, a dialect coach. They were there on set with me. And when we sent the dialect to Stephen, he said, oh no, not another terrible Maine accent.
Or are you able to sort of, you know, does it change the dynamic for you at all?
Well, honestly, it's been so long since I directed. I think it was, I sort of cooled down in 2003 when I got sick with cancer. So, and then I had to, you know, make my nut. And I got a cool story about that, but I don't know if you have time. Do you have time?
Yeah.
Do you know what making your nut, you know, you've got to make your money, right, at a certain, every week or whatever. And making your nut comes from way back in the Old West, when actors would go from town to town with their wagons and do plays and stuff. And they'd often skip out on their hotel bill. So the city fathers got wise, and they took the nuts off the wagon wheels. So they couldn't get out of town. So that's all your theater history. But I want to answer your question
yes,
about
I'm sorry.
directing.
Please.
No, I mean, I try to, I don't want to watch anybody. You know, it's so important to be, you know, it's like a high wire act, you know, when you're working with an actor, and you have to be there. You can't be watching a performance or anything else. It won't work that way.
Gotcha. Yes, ma'am.